Well, hello guys, my name is Otávio and I'm representing the Brazilian team Digital4People. And today we will present WaterGo, which aims to optimize a water distribution system in regions that lack this resource. This is Juma from Feira de Santana, Bahia. She is a farmer, a wife, and a mother. Usually, she walks 15 minutes to get water. She uses the water for her and her family's basic needs and also in her plantation, which is her family's livelihood. But when for 20 days the water truck didn't come, 15 minutes turns into an hour. This was what she got for 20 days. Imagine having to sacrifice your health because a right was stolen from you. And it does happen every day. In Brazil, 18.4 million people don't receive water daily. 2.4 million don't have a running water system, and 10% out of those people are localized in the Northeast, where there is a problem due to the drought weather. And because of that, the population has to rely on water trucks to receive water. This scenario isn't restricted to Brazil. Many countries face difficulties in water sector, such as India, where recent data has shown the inefficiency of the water distribution system, as well as an alarming number of citizens without access to clean water. Also, India has a delivery system of water through water trucks, but it is a startup project and there is no management system. The problem is the existing system does not have the parameter of the water level, causing people to wait for the water for days. This was what happened with Dilma and her neighbors. If that wasn't enough, the system today is suffering from fraud from the water truck drivers. They are paid per mile and not for how many deliveries they've done. And because of that, some truckers are putting the tracker in another vehicle to get the miles without delivering the water. In addition to that, the system is not fully automated, so to complete the delivery, it has a double check system that the people have to pass a card in their module to approve the unloading. So some people who are benefited were helping the truckers in this fraud. To solve this problem, WaterGo comes as an intelligent system that embraces the cause of millions that face this matter every day and proposes the optimization of the water distribution management system and its automation through smart sensors that will send a signal of the water level, checking the water delivery through the LoRaWAN's gateway to the internet. We do have two softwares in our system. The first one is for management and reports. The second one is a mobile app for the truck drivers to see where is needed to deliver, and also for automatizing a process that is still manual. Our embedded system is 78% cheaper than the current one in the market. Also, monitoring the level of the water tank will automate the process, avoiding frauds, bringing more credibility to the system, and increasing its efficiency. The data of the levels will be stored in the cloud for use in machine learning algorithms, calculating the people's consumption level, so even without the internet or in maintenance, we will know when the water tank will be empty. To minimize the waiting time of people, it will implement a water truck route optimization feature on our mobile app. We want to partner with board manufacturing companies for large-scale production in order to build our sensor even cheaper. We want a co-creation relation with the Ministry of Regional Development, which is responsible for the truck's operation, to implement a pilot to develop our proof of concept. We want investors who want to make a difference in the world situation, and with us, bring hope to people. Andrew, have you ever thought about living without water? Could you imagine in our current situation in a pandemic to live without this primary resource? That's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Digital4People from Brazil and WaterGo. And with that, we're going to turn it right over to our judges, Sunita Grote and Stephen Green, for questions.
Hi, thanks so much for that presentation. Super interesting. Just to say, I've seen similar solutions work in other settings, and so really cool to see this particularly applied, I think, to the problem in Brazil. I have a question just to clarify whether I understood correctly that one of the main user groups is the truck drivers themselves. Is that correct?
So yes, but our customer is the Ministry of Regional Development, and the users would be the administrator. So they will use our management system, and the truck drivers will use our app.
Okay, so just curious, whether you've thought a little bit about how to incentivize the truck drivers to use this, because it sounds like the current system works pretty well for them. they get more benefit out of the current system because they're able to trick it. To put it very bluntly, you described, I think, really well how they use the current system to get more benefit and more payment out of it. So what's in it for them, since they're the ones you sort of rely on to use this to a great extent? How, maybe you've spoken to them, what sort of feedback have they given you? What would encourage them and incentivize them to use this? Since if I think from it from their perspective, this may actually decrease the value that they get out of performing their jobs.
So the current system is really difficult. We've been in touch with some truckers that use the system, the current system, and they say to us that the current system is difficult to manage and they don't have training for that. And we know here that they already use a cell phone to the current system to send the signal to the measurement system. So they know how to use the cell phone, but they don't know how to use the sensor that they use in the trucker. So it will be more easy to then use just a cell phone than a sensor that they don't know how to use clearly, because they don't have training for that.
Thanks so much for that clarification. If there's time, I'll just ask one follow-up, and I'd love to hear, you said you've been engaging with the ministry, what their feedback has been, and if you have any plans to actually be able to test the prototype that you have in the market itself. And if you already have, what have been some of the data points that you collected?
So we not yet talked with the ministry, but we want to talk with them about our solution. And we want to implement a pilot with one city. We exemplified the city of Feira de Santana, and we want to keep in touch with the ministry regional of the city to implement our solution and collect the data, because we want to show them that our solution will have people being without waiting for days or months without water. And we just have a partnership built with some university to build our solution and research more about how we could implement it without failures and without making the people have to wait more.
Hello, I'm Stephen Green. If I can jump in with a quick follow-up question. I think overall I'd congratulate you on having a project that fits really nicely with the overall Tech4Good theme. You mentioned the 70% more cost effectiveness of your system. I wondered how you'd arrived at that figure. Is that taking into account, for example, the cost or the economic impact of the fraud element, which is obviously one of the main things that you're aiming to address with your system?
We'll have to ask you to keep your response short as we're out of our time. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, we saw the recipes of the government on the internet. The government has a website that they show all the money that they spend in projects, and we calculate our solution related to the current system. So we arrived with this number. So this cogs with our solution. And the second question is because the fraud is because the system is not automated. So you have two people, first of all, the truckers that have to put the car, and also the people that have to put a car too. So it's easily to defraud the system. So our solution will over this the system, this double check, and we will automate this 100%. Thank you.
Thank you